Make Happiness Podcast, Episode 5.
Welcome back, everyone.
I'm happy that you're all listening again. I hope your day is treating yourself well, or you're treating the day well, or vice versa, whichever way you want to take it.
It's been very nice out. Summer weather, it's here, and here to stay.
Yeah, it's like the end of May already, which is crazy. I feel like this month has gone by super quick.
Right. I can't believe.
Well, believe it.
Time flies by when you're having fun.
This is true. And I'm always having fun.
That's good.
So this week is going to be kind of a little bit less focused. I mean, it's still going to be focused around positivity and happiness or whatnot, because that's kind of what the podcast is. But I want to talk a little bit more just about what I did these past couple weeks and just my life and get to know me a little bit more personally. So I'm going to dive straight in. Last week, I was talking to Eli a little bit before this, but so as you know, I'm super into biking and I work at a bike warehouse, and I spent pretty much the entire week at my girlfriend's apartment over in Dinkytown. It's just north of the Mississippi River in Minneapolis. And it's a 20-mile commute one way to my work. So I rode 40 miles every day, which is over 120 miles the whole week, which is pretty insane.
Wow.
And it was really fun, though, because the ride is actually, most of it's on a bike trail, over half of it, actually. But just when you're cutting through up to Hopkins from Bloomington, it's kind of all side streets in a little small neighborhood. So that was nice because there wasn't too many cars. And then, by the end of the week, my body was definitely feeling it and it was getting sore. But I thought it was super cool just to change it up and do something different.
Yeah.
And then when I finally got to drive on Saturday, I was like, whoa, I have a car. It was so nice.
I bet you got to see a lot of interesting things, though, on those rides.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
It was I don't know, I was just way more aware of things, and I would have to plan my day very accordingly because I'd have to budget an hour and a half to commute to work.
Yeah.
So I had to get up that much earlier. And the other thing that was kind of a bummer, well, I guess I don't know if it was a bummer, but I get off work at 10 p.m. So then I'd get home to her place at 11:30, which is not ideal.
You're right.
And then I'd have to get up early and make breakfast and prepare and make stuff for food or for work the next day and then leave. But it was a cool change of schedule, I guess, and do something different.
How do you find that energy to, at the end of a work day, you work, I don't know, maybe 8 hours, and
well, actually,
how do you bike home after that?
Well, this past 2 weeks, actually, we were offered OT, so I've been working 50-hour weeks.
Okay.
So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So more. So yeah, how do you find the energy to just be like, all right, I'm biking 20 miles to and from work?
Honestly, I think part of it is just because the fact that I'm obsessed with biking so much and it's a part of a passion. So that's the best part of my day, biking into work and biking home from work, besides obviously seeing my girlfriend. I mean, that's a great thing too, but biking into work is so relaxing and such a meditative thing for me. It helps me keep my head screwed on straight, I guess. It's really relaxing and I just enjoy it. And I also have a Bluetooth speaker that I'll strap onto my frame and I'll just jam out to music, because I don't really like biking with headphones because then you can't hear cars as much.
Right, yeah.
So I have a little Bluetooth speaker that I just jam and listen to music. So it's a very peaceful and fun thing for me. I suppose at the end of the day, though, I do get drained, and when I'm biking home, it's I don't want to bike home after work, and I'm thinking about it, and then as soon as I jump on the bike 5 minutes into the ride, it's I'm loving it and I'm having the time of my life.
It's second nature again. It's not really work, it's just something you do.
Exactly.
That's cool.
How about you? How was your week?
My week has been very busy. I've been working on average 12-hour days at studio, and
for your internship?
Yep.
Okay.
So no money for me, but it's a good experience.
Yeah.
The guy's definitely cool. He lets me try stuff. Will let me work with the artist a little bit too, and
sure. That's pretty rad, though.
Yeah.
Have you gotten to do anything special or anything unique yet that you've learned, or
I mean, I've definitely improved my editing chops a little bit. Just comping vocal takes, which is say you'll record the same line maybe 10 times, and then you'll find the best version of that, move on to the next phrase, and find the best version of that one, and you edit it together so it sounds seamless, like it's all one take.
Oh, sure.
That can take a long time. But
that sounds really tedious.
Yeah, it's very tedious, and you have to find what the sound is, if the delivery is the same, the tone. There's just so many things to account for that you don't necessarily think of maybe when you're listening to a song.
But then the end product is super satisfying because you're like, yeah.
That's always super satisfying. It's like, all right, everyone, I made that.
Right.
So it's definitely really cool and fun.
That's awesome. Did you go to the that free event at the stadium the other night?
I didn't. I heard about that though.
Yeah, I was gonna go, but I was working.
Oh, seems like that's the case nowadays.
Yeah, man, you gotta pay the bills.
Yeah. Well, I can't. I don't get paid, but
That's fair.
I get paid in knowledge.
And experience, which honestly is a really good thing too.
Oh yeah, I don't regret not getting paid. I don't feel like at this point it's not a necessary thing for me to start making money right now. It's more important of building these skills and relationships and all that stuff, so I can have a better sort of set of things I can do in the future for that.
Sure.
So that's exciting.
Yeah, I got to do an internship too for my degree at school, but I don't really know how that's going to work with my schedule because I work 40 hours a week.
Right.
And I got to have so many hours of this internship. And I also run my own business for Make Happiness. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It gets busy.
Yeah.
That's one thing my parents talked to me about. They're like, okay, so I know you got to stay like dedicated to your stuff. And it's like, and do you know what you're going to be doing for a job? Because I know it's going to be hard to work. I'm technically working 2 jobs, but they're just not officially jobs. But if how I'd be able to find time to balance, like juggle the 3 different positions, and I wouldn't be able to work a traditional, 40-hour work week.
Right,
because,
like me.
Right, because I have 2 other obligations to take care of.
Sure. And those are higher priorities for you as well.
Right. So I was reading one of your blogs, The Time I Spend Alone, and it got me thinking about how that's probably a very important thing to do, because I think not a lot of people have that alone time. You see a lot of people on their phones all the time, and there's that instant gratification that we've talked about many times at this point. And there's not a ton of alone thinking time now that you think about. Just too many things going on in your life that you don't just kind of sit there and get to know yourself, probably. And I think that's very helpful for your
own self-growth, and your awareness, and who you are as a person. That's why I love when I get time by myself and I can just go, watch a sunset by myself, or go longboard around the lake by myself, or even like I was saying earlier, biking home from work or biking to work. That's time by myself. I just get to enjoy.
Especially because of a very long ride.
Yeah.
So you definitely get plenty of time to do that. I tend to go out on like drives and just listen to music, and sometimes I'll do it with a friend, but oftentimes I'll just do it alone. Just enjoy the music, think about whatever, I don't know, just things I think I should get done, or
you like prioritize things or whatever.
Yep.
But I think at the end of it all, it's like, people say you should help yourself before you help others. In all honesty, I think that's a true statement, but no matter what, I think we're going to be always putting ourselves first, even if you think that I'm going to help someone else to make them feel good, but you're doing it to make yourself feel good as well, which in reality is selfishness, I guess, in a way.
That's kind of human nature to want to make yourself top priority. And
it's kind of goes back to our instinct, it's just surviving. We want to be the best for ourselves, and we want to be better than other people, even if on the outside we're not trying to do that on purpose. It's just what our instinct is. Back to talking about the blog that Eli mentioned. For those of you who don't know, it was posted on February 6th, and one of the last couple sentences that I wrote I thought was really cool. I said, I can let go of everything and not have to worry about all the stress that life brings. It's a good way for me to recenter myself and remember how beautiful this world really is. And that was talking about when I was sitting on top of a ski hill watching the sunrise before I had to go to school that morning. So I just biked over to the local ski hill and watched the sunrise before class because I wanted to spend some time alone and just recenter my thoughts, which goes back to what we were talking about earlier, how it's good to just, be alone for a while.
It's a very meditative type of thing to do. I've actually never really done anything like that, I don't think. I mean,
really,
like the drives I've talked about, but like,
well, that's the same premises.
I suppose it's
just different perspective for different people, so different things work differently.
Sure.
Like for me, I'd rather be outside in nature because I'm just that kind of person, but for you, you'd rather be listening to music because that's a really big thing for you.
And it sometimes it's not always like the music that have always been into. It's just something like, oh, I know that classical music doesn't have lyrics, and that can be distracting for your own thoughts. You're thinking about what the person's saying. So listening to classical music or instrumental music can be relaxing, and you can get inside your own head and think.
Right. Do you go on these drives ever? Do you do this when you're stressed out, or like when you're in a tough situation in life, you're trying to figure something out that you're contemplating? Or no?
Sure. It honestly just comes up naturally. I'm just like, I could go for a drive right now.
Okay, just randomly. It's not like a thing where you're like, I want to do this week, or I want to go, you know what I mean?
Right. It's just, it comes up whenever it comes up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's interesting, because that's kind of the same thing with me. Whenever it's not like I schedule time, like I need to be alone for this hour, whatever. It just happens.
Yep.
Which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, it's definitely good to give yourself that time so you can discover yourself, things about yourself that you may not know.
Mm-hmm. But I think what I was getting at, I don't think it should be forced. I think it should be natural. You know, I don't think like if you say you have, I don't have time to spend by myself. Okay, well then you don't have a life.
Right.
Everyone has, 20 minutes or even an hour of their day where they're not by anyone. Mm-hmm. It's just a fact.
Yeah. And like you said, it's, everyone's different. We all have different, ways of going about sort of being in that meditative state.
Oh yeah.
You'll find some place out in nature to go and just think, and then I might go for a drive, listen to music or
cool. Yeah, your environment is a big part of it.
Yep.
And it also, that kind of goes with, I think, your personality traits, and because your personality is very different from mine, so that's why we gravitate towards things that are like us or that are related to our lives.
Right.
But
it's definitely good to keep a positive sort of environment around yourself, whether that be people or the place that you live in. There's neighborhoods that are not always great places to live. It can be a tough situation
especially if you grow up in that environment,
right?
Because your perspective is always going to think negatively then, because if you grew up in, like, let's say Compton, I'm just saying that because I'm going to LA, so I'm super excited about that. But
like there's definitely like a stigma around that there's drug dealers and gang members and stuff, and
then you're going to think that life is really horrible, and you're not going to amount to anything, and you're not going to have any sort of chance to be successful.
You're just not used to other life outside of that neighborhood, and
you don't know any better,
right?
But whereas you and me, who have kind of grown up in a more of a traditional setting, and our families weren't like struggling to just survive, we have more of a like positive environment, I would say.
I think it would definitely be interesting to find out, like, someone from those areas, like maybe or a neighborhood in like Southside Chicago, or like these historical, like
sketchy or
violent neighborhoods and all that stuff, about like what their process is for the same thing, like me driving or you going out to the.
But there's definitely really successful people who've come out of those areas too,
absolutely.
Which is crazy.
Yep. Sometimes when the stakes are against you, that gives you
the
motivation to do something awesome, and that's like that's definitely been proven.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a lot of it too is part of their energy, or just like their environment is what they've grown up with, and then the energy with themselves is like, okay, well, this is what I've grown up with my entire life, but I don't want this. I want something better than this.
Right.
And they just like have that. I guess I can't say for myself, but they have that drive, as you were saying.
You got to want the things that you want, and you can't let other people discourage you from that, because what gives them the right to say what you can or can't do. Exactly. And you got to want it bad enough, which is another thing too, because here's I'm really excited about this, and I don't know if I know it's going to happen, but it hasn't yet officially happened. I am going to be doing a public speaking event at my work for kind of a little like confidence booster, like morale booster for employees, and just overall happiness, like class kind of thing. And I'm talking with HR after I get back from my vacation to do some more in-depth about it and figure out what's going to work, what's not going to work. But I know that I will do it, and I know it is going to happen. I just don't know how, and I don't know in what sort of context, but I am motivated, and I want it bad enough that I know it's going to happen. Yeah, that sounds like a very cool thing that you could do for not just yourself. I mean, like as a sort of a businessman and someone who loves doing it, but for other people, it can definitely help other people out, whether they admit it or not. Right. It gets thoughts flowing in their brain, and that's just really good for the company as a whole too. Because I mean, then it's going to boost
in a perfect world, it would help make everyone happier, you know, or to help
Sure.
like whatever.
A happier workplace is
Yeah.
a more thriving workplace. Definitely.
And that really fits with QBP's values in general because they're a very happy and, you know, like healthy place or whatever. They're all about community and that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I'm super excited about that. And that's something I really want to get into. And that's why I'm really excited about these podcasts too, because I want to get into public speaking eventually and do events and that kind of thing. So this is really helping with that too, because I can kind of structure things and learn more about it and just get more experience. Yeah. Which is cool.
May I suggest you videotape that? And, you know, I'm not saying you have to release it, but just kind of like watch yourself and sort of maybe give yourself tips on things you can do better, or
oh, sure.
I mean, just self-note what you want to do. And
yeah, that's true. And I've been coming up with a rough draft too of like what I want to talk about. So I'm like giving this chunk of time and like, okay, well, this section is going to be devoted to, you know, like plugging Make Happiness. And then this section is going to be talking about my backstory. And then this section is going to be about methods of staying positive. And then this section is going to be relating to, you know, QBP as a company. And then this section is going to be interacting with the audience to make sure everyone's engaged, because that's a really big part
I
of
was
it.
just going to say, like, you could probably like talk to your coworkers or anything like that and be like, how do you do this? Or like, what's your way of, you know, what would you suggest to other people? That kind of thing.
Definitely. But yeah, so I'm super excited about that.
It's very cool.
And I really hope, so that's another thing too, when going back to, I touched a little bit on earlier about energy, but I feel like when you walk, you know, if you walk into a room, you can tell there's certain people who just give off that vibe or that energy level, and everyone they get more excited, or they get more, you know, run down, or it just depends on what kind of, you know, energy levels that
like
they're at.
You come across people with like super bubbly personalities, and, you know, a lot of people gravitate towards those people because it gives them, you know, maybe a good vibe, and they're just like,
it makes
this person's fun to be around.
Yeah, and it just makes them happier, and it makes them more energetic, or whatever you want to call it, you know?
Right.
But I think that's one thing you should do, is not focus yourself around people who are draining you, or people who are, you know, pulling all that energy out of you. You want to do the opposite. You want to surround yourself with people who are energizing you.
Right. You know, there's always going to be people in your life like that. Speaking for myself, there's been a couple people like that in my past, and, you know, you move on, and you want to, you know, it can be hard to remove a person from your life.
Oh, totally.
And
I agree.
It's, you know, especially if you know them very well, and you're just like, how can I, it's not normal, I think, to like
cut them out of your life,
someone out of your life. But, you know,
and by any means, I don't think that's healthy either, because you've known them forever. So it's not like you want to just completely shut them out. You still like,
if they're not good for you, then, you know,
you want to keep them distant.
Back. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't think you should completely cut them out, but you shouldn't by any means be best friends with them and hang out with them all the time. True. So yeah, I think it's, you know, you are kind of the 5 closest people that you hang around with, and that makes up who you are. So I think it's really a good thing to be aware that you're surrounding yourself with people who bring out the best in you, and people who are going to make, you know, the best version of you, or help you grow. Like people that make you think or make you want to try. All that stuff is definitely a good influence on you. It's a good, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a good benefit. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that works. I don't know where you're going with it. I mean, that works. Yeah. All right. But there's this article that we found. It's called "You Are the Sum of the 5 People Closest to You. Make It Count" by Alexandra Antonopoulos. They talk about things that say, like, you know, have you ever gotten a compliment from someone you really admire? Although it may sound shallow, the truth is that opinion of someone you admire is worth a lot more to you than someone you don't really admire. Which is very true. I think you find a lot more value in people that you look up to rather than people you don't look up to, you know? Sure. Like, I mean, you know, if, say, you have sort of an idol in whatever your, I don't know, field of passion is, or things you like doing, you look up to that person, you strive to be someone like that person. If they... Right. Well, even it could be like a best friend too, you know, if they give you advice on something, you're going to take that advice way more so than, you know, just a random classmate kind of thing. Or just someone out in public. If they, you know, that could go for negativity too. If someone says, just some random person comes up to you and just like, you know, calls you a name or insults you or something like that. Or says something about your clothing. But then if a best friend says something about that clothing, I think you're going to take it way more to heart than about the stranger. Yeah, that's true. Because, you know, like, who are they to Yeah.
They don't know you. They're just kind of pointing something out that they see.
But if a best friend says that, then you're probably not going to wear that shirt ever again. Or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to think very differently about any time that you see that. You're going to be like, well, someone said this about this, so I don't really want to wear this.
Mm-hmm. There's another point that it talked about is that are you surrounding yourself with people who never ask you tough or thought-provoking questions? That you definitely want to be around people who make you think. And that's a lot of things. And that's, in a way, that's what teachers are. They're not technically your peers. They're academic peers in a way.
Kind of like a mentor a little bit.
Yeah, a mentor. They make you think, whether you like thinking about what they're talking to you about. But it's definitely
a good thing.
A good thing to, always be thinking and not, just going to class and being like, oh, I have to do this. But it keeps your brain going. And
especially if you're hanging out with friends all the time who are, who are asking questions and like really curious about things rather than just ignoring it or constantly complaining about things, because that's not helping you grow. It's not helping you think about things.
Yeah, it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah. If they're just talking about how crappy something is, it's like, that's not okay. Why is it crappy? Or like, what makes it this way?
You can always ask why at something. Just bring up the 5 W's?
Who, what, where, and why?
Who, what, when, where, why, and then how. You can always ask those questions about anything. Whether you think like what you just said, I didn't why is it crappy? You could think about that for a while.
Exactly. Or you could think about, why is it positive? Why is it happy? Yeah. Why is it a good thing?
Mm-hmm. The last thing they talked about in this article that I just picked out is kind of relates to what we just talked about a few minutes ago. And it says, if the people that we surround ourselves affect us so deeply, we should learn how to attract the people that we admire while phasing out the toxic interactions and emotional vampires. So,
which it's kind of, that relates to going back to one of the first podcasts I talked about the law of attraction. It's like you want to think about the people that you want to surround yourself with. Right. So you want to think about the right friends or the people who are going to benefit you.
Yeah, you don't want to stick on dwelling on, someone who makes you feel bad. You don't want to just be like, oh man.
And then ultimately that's going to make you feel good because they're giving off that energy or whatever, and they're making you think about things. So you're going to give off that energy to other people, like your coworkers or other things, and then it's just going to keep going.
Yep.
Which is really cool.
Because if you're just stuck dwelling on something that someone said about you, insulting you, or
then that's going to be a chain reaction as well, which isn't a good thing.
You're just going to think those things about yourself. You're just, that's not good for your own.
Well, let's go back to that comment about the shirt I made. If your best friend tells you that the shirt made you look fat or made you feel like, I'm just for example, then you're going to go and that whole day, you're going to be thinking about that. And then every little detail about random things might piss you off. And then it's just going to create a negative environment throughout that whole day with every interaction with someone. But if it's flipped and your best friend told you, hey, that shirt looks really good on you, then the whole day you're going to be thinking more positive and you're going to be a little bit happier throughout everything.
Yeah, that actually kind of reminds me of something. I went to a Sum 41 show last night, and actually there were some prom people out, and this dude was wearing this really cool like leopard pattern jacket and pants, and I was like, nice jacket, dude, and gave him like a thumbs up.
That's awesome.
And so that kind of relates to what we're just talking about.
Yeah, so I think it's really important, like those chain reaction it just sets out the whole day as far as, like the interactions with others and how you make other people feel and how other people make you feel is a very critical thing to our energy level and our personality and our happiness level or negativity or whatever you want to call it.
Yep, definitely.
But that's cool. I'm excited. This podcast is going super well.
It's going very well.
We're getting better.
Yep. Let us know what you guys think about how we're doing. If you have any tips and advice, we also mentioned that a few weeks ago. And
we need some questions. No one asks us questions. Yeah. We've been literally coming up with our own questions to ask for the Q&A stuff.
Please ask us questions. Thank you.
It could be super it doesn't have to be focused around positivity or others. It could be whatever.
Anything you want to know.
Just something to talk about.
Yeah. But, something that'll liven up the podcast. What do you you guys are listening to us? What do you guys want to hear us talk about?
Exactly. Well,
that's why we're here.
But also we're here because we do enjoy talking.
Well,
I think it's fun.
Yeah, it is cool. Fun. It's definitely not as weird as it used to be.
Yeah, totally. I think we're getting a little bit better and it's coming a little bit easier. So stay tuned.
It'll be fun.
It already is. And there's a cat sitting behind me.
Yeah.
She's moving around. So I was like, oh yeah, I forgot there's a cat behind me. He's like pawing at my back. All All right, so you just said that we were trying to figure out what we could talk about for this last like 10 minutes or whatever the episode, and you said that there's TVs that have Wi-Fi in them.
Yeah, I know this has nothing to do with what we were just talking about, but we got on like I was hanging out with a friend yesterday, and he was like, "Dude, they make TVs with built-in internet Wi-Fi," and I was like, "What?" Hindsight is 2020, and if you think about it, why hasn't that been made so much earlier?
Well, I mean, what's the benefit? You know, is it like a router and a modem like
it's
in
like
the TV?
Yes, it's a built-in router essentially.
But what happens if like the Wi-Fi goes out? Then how do you How would you restart it?
I just found out about it. I'm not the guy to ask. Turn off your TV and turn it back on. I mean, you power cycle anything that doesn't work.
Does the TV always have to be on to use the Wi-Fi?
Oh, you're asking me all the wrong questions, man.
This whole conversation started because we were talking about trying to get this podcast out tomorrow, which hopefully will be today, which is the day that you're listening, which means I am in Los Angeles right now, enjoying life, stoked.
Yep.
But I'm super excited. I can't wait to leave. We fly out tomorrow morning.
What are your plans when you right when you first get there? Besides, unpacking and
well, we gotta. So we're taking this bus, the Hollywood bus or something. I don't know. My cousin said it was a good thing or it's really cheap. It's only like $8 and it goes from the LAX all the way up to North Hollywood, which is really close to my cousin's place, which is where we're going to stay for the first couple nights. We're going to drop off all our luggage and then probably go find some food somewhere, bum around and walk around, do something and wait for my cousin to get off work. And then we're going to film a podcast in LA this week, which is going to be really cool to get kind of a perspective of what it's like. And then also I'm going to come out with a blog on Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be pretty rad. I'm going to talk about, the different stuff we're doing and the Airbnb that we're going to be staying at. And this cat just wants attention, so I'm trying to ignore it, but whatever. So I'm super excited. Everything's going to be good. This week is going to be jam-packed with awesomeness and travel blogs and travel podcasts.
Sounds like a really cool time.
Yeah.
I got to recommend you go to Venice Beach. That's definitely
Oh, sure.
a cool spot full of interesting people.
So our Airbnb is actually like half a mile away from Venice Beach.
Oh, really? That's
yeah.
dope. Okay,
right?
So you got to go there every day.
Yeah. So my cousin's place is in like North Hollywood, so we're staying there for like the first 2 days, and we're staying down by Venice Beach at the Airbnb for the last 2 days or 3 days.
Okay, yeah. So you get a
best of
rounded
both worlds.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But then we also don't have a car or any sorts of transportation. But I mean,
you don't need that. I mean, there's in Santa Monica, there's a train.
Okay.
So sort of northeastish, there's a train station that
Cool.
just goes. I don't know the direction. I'm just going off memory here, but honestly, you don't even need to buy a ticket. Tickets are a couple bucks. We just hopped on.
yes.
But
Train hopping.
Yep. It's just everyone walks there.
And of course, we're gonna rent some city bikes because I'm into bikes.
Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah. And we're gonna stop at all the local little. I don't know. Maybe are there farmers markets? That'd be cool.
Wouldn't
Probably
surprise
not
me.
during the week
I don't
though.
know. How would you say?
Yeah. But I don't know.
California's got everything, man.
Cool. Yeah. But can I drink tap water there? Is the water clean?
I think so.
I was curious about
Is that
that.
a thing?
I don't know. I mean, the smog is a thing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, when I was there, the wildfires were going on. I don't know. That just made me think about. I'm getting flashbacks, man.
See, dude, talk about environments again. It's a real thing.
It's real. It's real.
Yeah.
I guess if you're not sure, then just buy jugs of water.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I suppose.
Do you guys like that we're talking about
Random things.
random stuff like that?
I think it's good because it adds more conversation to the podcast.
Yeah.
It's more, raw instead of kind of structured, scheduled, very strict. But I also think that we had a really good content earlier in the podcast, just talking about, everything. Do you have any last things you want to talk about? Or any?
I don't think so for today. It's been going really well. I'm
What are you doing later tonight?
hanging out with some friends.
There you go. Any bonfires yet?
Not yet, but you know.
You just gave me a look that looked very seductive and very like, we got to have some bonfires.
We gotta have some bonfires, Ian.
Yeah, because it's about that time, man. It's summer. It's perfect out to have those.
People are coming back from college. Time to
Everyone's-
celebrate.
It's back in town.
Yep.
The
The boys are back in town.
That's right.
All right. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this podcast.
It's always a pleasure. I'm very happy and I'm really surprised, honestly, by all the good feedback. I've had not tons of people, but I've had a few people like comment or like talk to me and be like, yo, this is super awesome. Like, I love what you guys are doing, which is really cool. And I never would have expected that. So thank you very much. I appreciate this. Share it with your friends, put it on your social media. let people know what we're doing. We got a voice. Make happiness.
Let it be heard.
Exactly. Let's just make the world a better place, man. One smile at a time.
Yep. Thank you guys for listening. And I won't see you next time, but...
No, you'll see me and my cousin Eric next time, which would be cool.
I'll tune in.
That's right. See ya.
Bye, everyone.